Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Welcome back to another exciting episode of LT Showcase. I am Lucious T, and welcome back to more Super Nintendo Month. This week, we're taking a look at a game that I haven't done in a while, and that's a Japanese translated game. And that game, of course, is Rendering Ranger R2. Now, I stopped covering a lot of these, not because I don't love them, I do, but because I started coming into a lot of issues with these carts. You know, they're not made, especially this one was from a company that completely screwed me over, and a lot of the games I got from them were nothing but trouble, and this one's no exception. While playing this game, I had the game crash on me several times. I had it just completely lose. In level 4, just all the enemies disappeared, and numerous other issues. But luckily, there is a password system, I was able to beat it, and let's check it out.
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. I'm Lucious T. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life. This is Retroactive.
So Rendering Ranger R2 was a game I first heard about because I believe even in 2015 or 16, the Super Famicom version of it, like the authentic game, is one of the most expensive Super Famicom games. I don't know if that's still the case, but it's one of the more desirable carts, just because I'm assuming it's late in the console life cycle, and the game does a lot of impressive things. Like, there's some levels that, I mean, it uses the Mode 7, along with a lot of scrolling backgrounds, and it's very impressive. The graphics are very impressive for the Super Nintendo in general. Now, I didn't know going into it that it was going to be such a shooter-heavy game. There's 9 stages, 4 of which are run and gun. Now, the first 2 stages are run and gun. So, when you get to stage 3 and you hop on a ship, 3 and 4 are shooters, 5 back to run and gun, 6, 7, and 8 are all shooters, and then you finally finish the game on level 9, and that is a run and gun. There's no continues, you just have lives. You can pick up lives throughout the levels. I only really ever found levels that had lives in the shooter levels, specifically level 8, because there is an insane maze section that just kills you over and over and over again. It is actually really unique and fun, but damn, if I was getting through the game without the password system, I would be so pissed off. And the game gives you passwords, so it's not like I'm cheating the system. After you die, it tells you how to get back to the stage. I started on level 8 so many times, I know that it's PLPUOITF. That gets you to stage 8. Now, I don't know if it's on normal, easy, or whatnot. I looked online because I had the game crashing on me so many times, like I mentioned in the intro, that I dropped the difficulty down to easy just because it's a hard game. It's a hard game. The way it works in the run and gun levels, you have different ways of shooting, angling your shot, kind of like in Super Metroid. I would assume, I've never played the Turricans, but it looks more like a Turrican style than a Contra style, because you have a life bar and the enemies have a life bar. You start with a normal machine gun, and you get these little pellets. You get a blue one, a green one, a red one, and kind of a yellow one, and they upgrade your weapons, so you eventually get a laser shot, you get a bounce attack, and then you get sort of a spread shot that's kind of useless. I found it the most useless weapon in the game. And you get a ultimate based on which weapon you're using. The machine gun shoots out grenades, the laser shoots out a giant laser that's really good at getting focus fire on bosses, specifically on some of the shooter levels, or even on the running gun. Like, that's a great way of finishing off bosses. The green one does an area effect bomb, and then the yellow one does a big flame thing. But like I said, I didn't really use that gun that much. And if you die holding that certain weapon, you lose all your upgrades, but you keep the upgrades for the other weapons. So sometimes you'll go through levels and you'll switch to the weapon. I usually switch to the green one because I didn't find it that useful. If I knew I was near death, to just die, and then I could come back and go back to my good weapon. You can also pick up health. Once you get to full health, you'll get a little barrier shield. So when you're running gun, it kind of looks like you have stars around you. And then when you're in the shooter levels, you have almost a force field in front of you. But really, the main difficulty of the game comes in the shooter levels. They can get intense, especially if you don't realize you can flip your ship back and forth, which I didn't find out the first couple go-rounds. So I'm trying to get through these areas where meteors are coming from behind, and I'm just dodging them left and right and using the weapon that shoots behind, thinking I'm screwed. Now, in the shooter levels, you can get 2 little drones that will fire extra based on what type of gun you're using. And the same thing happens for the shooter levels. You have the same type of attacks. So the laser, the green attack, the white, yellow, and whatnot. And you'll come across bosses. The boss fights, they have weak spots, and it seems like unless you have your guns upgraded, you're not doing much damage. And luckily, when you do continue, you continue with full upgraded weapons across the board. So that's a nice little mercy the game does, even if you didn't have the full thing. Because I think it's just, it gives you the password for that stage, regardless of which amount of lives you had. And you start with 5 lives on normal. You can have 7 lives on easy, but normal was 5, and that's eventually what I ended up beating the game on. Super fun, though. Very unique, super fun. I'm not a big fan of shooters. I've said it all the time, but when I do get into a good one, it does make me want to get better at it. And I definitely felt that way with this one. It was helpful that it wasn't a one-hit death, because I'm not that great with shooters. You know, if it was something like Gradius or whatnot, I'd be screwed. But also at the same time, it meant that the enemies weren't one-hit deaths, so it kind of balances out. All in all, very unique game, very fun. As far as a rating goes, I'm still going to give it an 8. And I don't know if that's just because I'm not a bit... I mean, it did drag a little bit. I think that they needed to have a little bit more balance between the levels, especially level 8 was such a cock block. Just brutal, because you have to go through this ridiculous section where you have to miss all these narrow hallways and you just die instantly, and then you fight like 5 bosses in a row. So it's insane. That could have been split up into 2 levels. Like, come on, that was a little too brutalis right there. But as far as rating goes, 8's what you get. And as far as pick it up, and I mean, this one you have to repro it, emulate it, or skip it. Don't pick it up. It's way too expensive. Maybe repro it, although I'm not really as big a fan of repros anymore. I'd say flashcard, emulate it, so I think emulate it. And there you have it, Rendering Ranger R2. Very fun game. It's funny. It's really, I can see why people like it. I can see why the Super Famicom version is so sought after. It does a lot of things that the Super Nintendo shouldn't be able to do. It's pretty impressive. And I liked it. I will say that I enjoy the run and gun levels a lot more than the shooter levels, but I'm not very good at shooters. And that level 8, wow, what a bitch. But that's it for this week, guys. Let me know what you thought about this game. Let me know what you think about this month. Stay forward, we got 2 more videos coming, and next week we have a special guest on the episode. You can guess who it is. Alright, it's been so great getting a hold of you guys. Take care.